At approximately 8:15 p.m. on October 29th, 2024, our office, the Dorchester County Sheriff's Office, was dispatched to a shooting incident on the Sawmill Branch Trail. This trail is located between Loudon Drive and Breakage Bridge Road near the Newington subdivision in Summerville, South Carolina. Once we arrived on scene, Dorchester County EMS personnel and sheriff's deputies located two individuals, a female and a male, suffering from gunshot wounds. The female was pronounced deceased at the scene. The male was subsequently transported to an area hospital for medical treatment. During our initial investigation, Christopher Kelly McDonald, 20 years of age, was identified as the subject responsible for the incident. This identification came through cooperation and corroboration of evidence received at the scene. We arrested Mr. McDonald, and he's charged with assault and battery, high and aggravated nature, and involuntary manslaughter. Those are the Dorchester County Sheriff's Office charges. The Department of Natural Resources, DNR, is pursuing additional criminal charges against Mr. McDonald. The charges are for negligent discharging of a firearm resulting in death, negligent discharge of a firearm resulting in great bodily injury, and night hunting. Currently, Mr. McDonald is housed in the Dorchester County LC Knight Detention Center, pending a bond hearing. This is an active investigation between our office, the Dorchester County Sheriff's Office, the Dorchester County Coroner's Office, the the State Department of Natural Resources, and of course, the Summerville Police Department. I open it up for any questions.
What was found at the scene that helped connect him to the incident? Because neighbor was more affidavit. He said he saw the news and turned himself in. So what was found at the scene that ID'd him?
As far as the corroborating information, just the news release, and he acknowledged that he was in the area at the time. So based on that information, he decided to turn himself in.
Talk about a firearm that you guys may or may not have recovered involved with that.
We do have a firearm in our possession that was involved in the incident.
I mean, is that a scoped 30-06? I mean, you know, what happened?
I'd rather not say at this time.
Okay, well, lead off of this. You know, in South Carolina, you got to have a hunter safety course before you can get a hunting license. You have to have a big game license as well. I mean, you know, if you take that hunter safety course, I mean, you got to know. You can't be hunting at night and all that kind of stuff. What was he telling deputies?
So, and that's why he's charged, you know, by the Department of Natural Resources. And honestly, you know, what he was doing, he broke. And it's just an unfortunate set of circumstances as this resulted in someone losing their life because someone decided to break the law and not do what state law requires them to do. And, you know, in that segue, I would say that, you know, when we receive calls like this, and I said that in the release yesterday, it's important for citizens if they hear someone, and not just in this location, but, you know, anywhere in the county where they feel that it's too close to a residence, to call law enforcement. Let us investigate. Don't try to deal with that individual yourself. Let us investigate, and if they're, you know, breaking the law, we certainly will hold them accountable.
How long between the shooting and the 911 call? How much time elapsed?
Between the incident and the 911 call?
Yeah.
I don't have an answer to that.
Do we know who made the 911 call? Was it the husband in this matter?
Yes, it was. And
what's his condition? Is it severe, life-threatening, or how is he doing now?
I don't have an answer to that one right now.
Could you speak on, hunting seems to be the nature here. Was he on public or private property? Would it have mattered either way? Could you talk about I guess, the rules and regulations when it comes to hunting near?
So as we talked about yesterday, the 300 yards away from a residence is the rule and state law in terms of what's required, either when you're in the act of hunting or if you're going to a hunting site in terms of practicing. I will say this, that there's private land in that particular area, and then there's public-owned land in that particular area. He was in the vicinity of where that area crosses over from private to public.
Does any hunting ever occur in that area typically?
We have information, and we receive information that there have been sightings of people hunting. And what we ask residents to do is to alert the Dorchester County Sheriff's Office or the Summerville Police Department, because I just had a conversation with the chief, and our plan is to make sure we have adequate patrols in place to ensure safety in the area. With that being said, there's a requirement from the town on that trail that that people not be on the trail after dark. That's something for that particular trail. The parks in Summerville, they're allowed to be there until 10 o'clock p.m. But I would impress upon citizens that if you're going to be on the trail after dark, which is not something that they recommend because they have a rule saying after dark not to be on the trail. But I want to make sure that everybody, if you're going to move anywhere in the county after dark, whether it be on a highway or something like that, just make sure you got clear lighting, where you got some lighting available, be it, I would say, reflective tape or something like that, but just something where if you lose visibility that you're seeing.
Do we know, and this might be a question for DNR, if he had a hunting license, two, if the gun was registered to him? I'm sure, again, as he mentioned, hunting classes, you kind of learn, you should be able to see what you shoot, these kind of things. Do we know if he had that hunting license to even, if this situation didn't happen, to legally be allowed to do what he was doing?
I'm not going to disclose that at this time, if you don't mind.
Following up on the trail rules, is there any part of that area where it is okay to hunt? Not in the public area, but in the private area. You said that increasing patrols, but is there any known actual legal hunting that can occur in that area? I'm not familiar with the
So I would submit that, and being an avid hunter myself, that you obviously know your sector of fire, that you need to know what you're shooting at, where you're hunting at, how that could impact where you could have any collateral issues from hunting. So that's one thing. You need to understand and recognize that state law, we have these requirements in place for a reason, to make sure that everyone's safe. So the best advice I can give is, if you're going to hunt in an area, you need to know or respect the fact that you could have some collateral issues and understand the sector of fire that you're going to be involved with and utilize.
Can you kind of go into depth about why he was charged with what he was charged with? I guess for the general viewer, involuntary versus voluntary, and then the other charge as well.
It's just they won't disregard the negligence involved, and we'll cover the involuntary, the amount of injury incurred is for the assault, and of course the DNR charges are reference to their regulations.
Was anyone using any kind of illumination that night? Did the victims have any reflective tape, a headlamp, flashlight, using their phone?
Not that I'm aware of, sir.
Did he have any sort of illumination on his weapon or on his person?
Not that I'm aware of, sir.
The warrant said he had he was using a 20-gauge shotgun, so that didn't have any potential for infrared. Were there any modifications on it?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay.
As far as hunting so close to populated areas, people I know you said there's a 300-yard rule, but are there any other kind of rules or safeguards or anything from either the state or DNR that you know of beyond that rule?
There's something that all hunters need to understand, that you got that 300-yard rule, but you also have the responsibility to not be negligent in terms of how you hunt, where you hunt, the practices that you utilize. So that's something that that all hunters need to be aware of. And if you take a hunter's education course, you know, they're gonna make sure you're aware of those requirements and responsibility. But again, anybody that uses a firearm, you need to be aware of the capabilities of that firearm and your sectors of fire. You need to always be aware of any collateral damage that could occur in the process of using that weapon. And the capabilities of the weapon is important because each weapon has a particular set of capabilities. And so each person, you know, you need to be familiar with the responsibility and the accountability of using that firearm.
Okay, Sarah, so I'm a little confused. He shot somebody with a 20-gauge shotgun, or he shot somebody with a big bore rifle?
It's in the warrants, a 20-gauge shotgun, sir.
A 20-gauge shotgun.
Mhm.
Are you at all surprised, that's a close-range weapon, are you at all surprised that he misidentified a person for North America's most popular big game animal, white-tailed deer?
I will tell you that a lot of what we're experiencing with this, we're still investigating, you know, all the avenues that, you know, that occurred with this. So, you know, we're trying to get to the bottom of what he actually saw and what actually happened. So, again, the investigation is ongoing, so we may have some other issues that we will find out.
Is he being cooperative with detectives? Has he admitted the deed?
He's being cooperative, yes.
Any previous, I guess, charges, you know, violent crimes? Is there anything in his record that shows a repeat offense like this?
Nothing like this, no.
Have you been drinking that night?
None that I'm aware of.
How far was he when he shot at what he thought was a deer?
I'm not going to disclose it at this time.
Do you know how much daylight was? It said 8:15-ish. Is there how much daylight was still out at that point? Do you know?
My understanding, it was dark at the time.
Take a minute to comfort the victim and the victim's family.
The biggest thing is we certainly are sorry for an incident like this. There's just no excuse for anybody being careless with a firearm, and certainly to have someone pay the price with their life. There's just no excuse for that. And for people that want to be reckless with, you know, using firearms, you know, we will hold you accountable for that, because there's no excuse for a person, an innocent bystander, being subjected to someone's carelessness.
Was he breaking any gun laws as far as having just possession of the gun and being where he was, or was it, I guess, maybe the act itself that made it illegal?
I'm sorry, sir, can you repeat that question?
I'm just trying to figure out if, say somebody saw him on that land with that gun, would that itself have been illegal, or was did his use of the gun become illegal once he fired the shot?
The action was what caused the issue. I'm gonna get back to his point. I also want to say to the victim's family that they're in our thoughts and prayers. You know, I just can't imagine, you know, what they're going through in terms of this particular incident, the impact on it. But we certainly, our thoughts and prayers go out to them, to the deceased husband that's still in the hospital receiving treatment. They're in our thoughts and prayers.
Last question to you. Do you know if the city or the county, after such a tragic incident like this, has plans to maybe make those trails or pathways safer for individuals walking or running or exercising?
So, just like I said, we had a conversation with the Summerville Police Chief Wright, and you know, our plan is to do our best to increase patrols, just to make sure that we're vigilant in terms of spotting anybody that's not doing the right thing out there. And that may be not something to do with a firearm, but just anything that could expose somebody to danger in situations like that.
Does that trail have any cameras at all? Any sort of like, trail cams or anything like that?
So, no, not what we'd like to have. And so, my understanding is that there are conversations underway with doing some upgrades to ensure that we make it as safe as possible.
Is there any way, is there something going forward where you can ban or kind of eliminate hunting in that area, considering it's such a high populated kind of area?
At this time, other than state law, and then there's some ordinances. There's an ordinance in the town that speaks to that particular situation, but in the county there is no such ordinance. So what we in terms of what we require our deputies to do is just to be and when they're on the patrols, to make sure that people, if they're in accordance with state law, but that they understand their sectors of fire, and that they're reckless in terms of is there going to be a potential for any collateral issues or anything like that. So I think that we've done a good job of recognizing that in the past. The issue though is that if you see something, say something. So the best force multiplier for us is for citizens to let us know when they receive problems, or see problems. Please let us know, because we can be that much more effective when they do.
Are there any assurances you can give the people who use that trail, and in particular, because the way it's situated, like there's a community pool kind of within that area, is there any kind of reassurance you can give to the people that live in that subdivision or people who use that trail when it comes to, people hunting or anything like this that goes on?
The assurance is that we take these matters very seriously, and that we will do our best to penalize violators. If that means putting them in jail, we'll do that. So if there's any information that the people in that area receive about anything that they think jeopardizes their safety, if they'll let us know, and our deputies will be vigilant. So if they spot anything, we'll prosecute them to the full extent of the law.
Whose office is handling cases of Pasco's?
As far as the prosecution,
Yeah.
it'd be Solicitor Pasco, yes. Mm-hmm.
Could you just talk a little bit about, this gentleman was 20 years old, young guy. Again, we don't know his history at this point, if he had a hunting license or knowledge of said weapons. When it comes to buying a firearm, how should people who may not have experience or have been brought up into a hunting family, a firearm family, go about learning the rules and the importance of gun safety?
So there are several locations that will offer training to people about firearms. Some of the ranges that we have, and I won't name them, but they're ranges in the area, and they conduct firearm safety courses all the time. And I would impress upon those that when they buy a firearm to take the opportunity to take courses like that, because knowing the capability, not only of just firearms but the ammunition, because different types of ammunition, particularly with shotguns, you either enhance the capability of the shotgun or you mitigate it in some way. But you need to understand that. Understand the capability of weapon systems, very important when you deal with firearms.
What kind of a shot was he using?
I'm not going to disclose that at this time.
And looking at this, I guess right now, are you considering this action an accident? And as you continue the investigation, is there a possibility that designation might change?
So I would say that the investigation is ongoing, and what we have is what we're able to prove at this particular time. That's subject to change based on the information that we receive. And if we receive information where this was some different type of act, we will certainly act upon that accordingly. Thank you, gentlemen.